Once upon a time, in the heart of a lush green forest, there was a giant watermelon resting in the middle of a small clearing. No one knew how it got there, but for the tiny creatures of the forest, it was an enormous obstacle. The beetles, ants, and grasshoppers often gathered around, wondering what to do with it. It was too large to move, too heavy to push, and too solid to break apart easily. The insects of the forest knew that if they could not clear the area, it would block the path they used to collect food and travel safely. The strongest bugs, the mighty beetles, stepped forward first. They pushed and pushed with all their might, but the watermelon did not budge. Next, the clever grasshoppers tried using sticks and leaves as levers, but nothing worked. Even the wisest old cricket couldn't think of a solution. Just as the insects were about to give up, a small red ant stepped forward. "I can move it," she said confidently. The other insects laughed. You are the smallest among us. How can you possibly move such a giant thing?" But the little ant did not let their laughter discourage her. Instead, she called for her fellow ants. Soon, thousands of ants arrived, forming a long line. One by one, each ant took a tiny bite of the watermelon and carried it away. At first, the other insects thought it was a ridiculous idea. The watermelon was still huge, but the ants did not stop. They kept working, taking small bites and carrying them back to their nest. A day passed, then another. Slowly, the watermelon became smaller and smaller. After a week, there was nothing left but a small rind. The other insects were amazed. "You did it!" the beetles cheered. The little ant smiled and said, "Even the biggest challenge can be overcome if you take it one small step at a time." From that day on, whenever the insects faced a difficult task, they remembered the little ant's lesson. No task is too big if you break it into small pieces and never give up. To celebrate their victory, the insects threw a grand feast, sharing the last bits of the watermelon. As they enjoyed their meal, the wise old cricket spoke. "This lesson is not just about watermelons," he said. "It is about life. No matter how impossible something seems, patience and perseverance will always lead to success." The insects cheered, and from that day on, they faced every challenge with courage and determination, remembering the power of small steps and teamwork.